only person I just believe that Ilia would, without a doubt, fight is Islam. Doesn't matter what Islam does outside of a fight with him. When that fight will be brought to the table, he'll always go back and revisit that, because that's the biggest fight. And a fight between him and Islam is much bigger than the fight between him and any of those other guys. So while the guys are speaking fact, in terms of fight the number one contender, you're not necessarily thinking about the champion side, where the champion at times should go, hey, there's some reservation.
Ilia could knock heavyweights out. We've seen that. He can knock anyone out when he touches them. I think Ilia versus Islam is the biggest fight the UFC can make, hands down, in my opinion. You've got two-weight world champions. One will try go for greatness and be the first triple champ of all time. So it's an absolutely gigantic fight. Like, you cannot beat around the bush. You have to just state the obvious and understand it. However, I don't know if the UFC want to do that, because then you slow down two divisions. But is it worth it? If they're going to get the money in return and the business is there and the people want to see it, the UFC will do it. So it's an interesting topic. I don't believe they're going to do it right now. I think when you've got the likes of Sarukian and Paddy and Gaethje, they need to have that belt competed at lightweight, and Ilia needs to defend that belt. Islam just won the belt and has to fight a welterweight. Do you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. But it absolutely is the biggest fight in the sport you could make right now. Way bigger than anything to do with John Jones and Aspinall and Pereira, in my opinion.
A champion who needs an entire camp just to focus on wrestling is already showing cracks. Ilia Topuria's words sliced through the air, aimed directly at Islam Makhachev, igniting an inferno of controversy. This wasn't a subtle jab, it was a direct challenge to Islam's famed Dabachani discipline and the narrative crafted by Joe Rogan. Topuria brazenly suggested Islam visit Georgia for real toughness. The gauntlet had been thrown down, accusing a champion of fundamental weakness, and the MMA world braced for an inevitable collision, questioning Islam's core strength.
Ilia Topuria taking on Islam Makhachev. I like that fight. That's a great fight. But here's the question. Is it at 155 or is it at 170?
It's unfair at 170.
I mean, I think Ilia Topuria...
Michael, I know he could win. I know he could. But I think there's like you kind of owe it to competitiveness. To 155 this. I know that Ilia gets the third opportunity at belt. But at no fucking point in UFC history should Ilia Topuria and Michael Morales be in the same weight class. That is something that I don't want to see that listed. Like, at one point, Ilia was at 170 and Michael Morales is a 170 pounder. Like, he just isn't a 170 pounder. Like, that is the case. He can be a featherweight that moves up to lightweight. But I think at 170, the difference would be too much. With Makhachev, it's not limbs. It's not height.
Yeah.
He's not the tall guy at welterweight. He's not going to have the longest reach at welterweight, the frame like this. It's the back. When he's on top, you can see his back and his torso. It's like, yeah, you're not getting up from this.
Yeah.
This is a different type of grappling that you got to watch out for. Maybe Ilia could... Listen, doubting Ilia has become like a loser's profession. Like, that's not the thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Don't doubt Ilia because he'll make it happen. And maybe he'll get in Makhachev's head a little bit as well. JDM was kind of just sort of staying calm in the build-up. And, someone will ask him a long-winded question and he'll go, yeah, we'll see. And that's it. That's what we get by JDM. But there's no way that's going to sort of get under Makhachev's skin in any way. But Ilia could poke the bear a little bit. He could poke things and pick on things and go this way and get his MMA guru on with rattling Makhachev and his fan base.
But Ilia's bold claims directly challenged the legend Joe Rogan had painted. Rogan described Khabib's camp as an almost monastic environment, a pressure cooker where distractions were cut out, forging champions like Islam through sheer obsession. No nightlife, no no-ling, no shortcuts, just a relentless cycle of grind and recovery. This disciplined world shaped Islam, a stark contrast to Ilia's fiery, individualistic narrative, setting the stage for a clash of fighting philosophies, not just styles.
I mean, Ilia's got to go out there and beat Justin Gaethje. He's got to go out there and beat Paddy, whoever he beats. He's got to go out there and get the job done. But Ilia, I'm so curious if Islam can do this to Ilia. Ilia, he matches that skill set. And I just feel like it would be a lot closer of a fight than Jack versus Islam was. That's the fight.
Javier Mendez, Islam's head coach, pushed back hard against Ilia's boring label. He stated Islam delivered one of the most dominant performances in welterweight history, with nearly 19 minutes of control at Madison Square Garden. Hardly boring, but historic. Mendez acknowledged Ilia was stirring the pot, hyping the matchup, but left no doubt if Topuria keeps climbing and the UFC approves, this showdown is absolutely happening. Sooner or later, regardless of any rhetorical barbs.
Had unbelievably grueling training sessions, and that was one of the things that was so apparent, like with his endurance and their discipline was like second to none. They were like, no girlfriends, no phones, no bullshit, no video games, fuck you, we train.
Yeah.
And recover, train, eat, recover, train. And you wanna really be a champion, this is how you have to work. And this is how Islam Makhachev is so good. That's why Khabib is so good. Those guys are disciplined.
Michael Bisping, a veteran of countless mind games, simply waved off Ilia's accusations. Ilia claiming Islam jumped to 170 out of fear wasn't some grand revelation, it was pure, calculated strategy, a bait to provoke Islam and keep his own name relevant. To Bisping, it was all part of the theater, the necessary pre-fight drama before the real contest gets made, not something anyone should take literally or believe as genuine heartfelt concern. Ali Abdelaziz, however, didn't mince words, unleashing a scathing critique of Ilia's approach and drawing a shocking comparison. Abdelaziz questioned Ilia's tactics, urging him to forge his own path. He warned that stirring the pot online, like some had before, only catches up to you in the cage, hinting at the same mistakes Dylan Danis once made. In Abdelaziz's eyes, Ilia risked everything for fleeting attention instead of building a legitimate, lasting legacy. Islam will be waiting.
There's no emotion in Islam and he's boring. But I mean, how could you say that moment was boring, right? It was one of the most historic moments in the welterweight division now, right? In Madison Square Garden, an absolute domination. 19 minutes and 10 seconds of control time for Islam. It's incredible.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. And, I mean, as a fighter, you got to try to mark up the fights and get everybody involved, and he does a great job of doing that. So let's see what happens. If the UFC offers him, then no problem. I mean, I can't answer for Islam, but I'm saying no problem. Islam and his, Ali, who I consider the greatest manager in the business, will do the right thing for Islam. So but let's face it, we're going to meet him eventually, whether it's the White House or whether it's another time. Let the UFC decide that, I say. But we're going to meet him eventually if he wants to continue to come up. But I seriously doubt Islam will want to come down. And for him, it's the first time anybody will ever go for a triple, right? He'll be the first triple challenger for it. So that would be a monster fight for the whole world, to be honest.
Yet, amid strategic jabs and dismissals, an undeniable truth lingered. Ilia versus Islam isn't just a fight, it's widely regarded as the biggest, most monumental showdown the sport can possibly make. Far surpassing anything involving Jones, Aspinall, or Pereira, this clash pits two-way world champions against each other. One fighter, Ilia, eyes an unprecedented quest for greatness, aiming to become the first triple champ in history, creating an unmissable spectacle.
People are going to say stuff like that because they want to fight each other. So he's trying to poke the bear and he's trying to get that matchup. Ilia says that Islam ran away to 170 because he was scared of Ilia and all the rest of it.
He knows that I'm dangerous. He knows that I'm going to put him to sleep. Even Khabib.
That's what fighters do. Don't put too much stock into that.
He said you're like the most boring fighter in the UFC or something like that. Can you give us your full thoughts on a fight with him now?
No injury, nothing. I don't feel any pains. I'm ready. Who is gonna be next? Let's do this, and I will make it.
The UFC, however, faces a colossal dilemma with this potential blockbuster. While the money and business potential are undeniable, making the fight could slow down not one, but two entire divisions. Is the immense financial return worth potentially stalling the lightweight and featherweight title pictures, leaving a hungry queue of contenders in limbo? This high-stakes gamble between immediate profit and divisional progression demands careful consideration.
Ilia Topuria is going to come out and say that because he wants that fight. Could you imagine if Ilia Topuria was afforded the ability to go up and become a three-weight division champion? Again, I say it all the time. No one's ever done that. And I don't think that's what's going to happen here just yet. I think Ilia's going to defend. We don't know who it's going to be. Could be Arman Tsarukyan because he's fighting next week in Qatar. It could be Paddy. It could be Justin Gaethje. But he's got to fight one of those. And he's probably going to defend a couple more times as well before he even thinks about going up to welterweight. And then when you look at welterweight, I mean, what is going to happen there? Because the welterweight division is ridiculous right now. Of course, Michael Morales has a claim to fight for the belt because he's 19-0. He's undefeated and just knocked out Sean Brady. You've got Carlos Pratis that just sparked out former champion Leon Edwards in devastating fashion, did something that no one's ever done to Leon Edwards. So he's got a shot. You've also got Shavkat Rakhmonov that was the #1 contender, but then he got injured. You've got Bilal Muhammad going up against Ian Gary. Ian Gary's making a lot of noise saying that he wants to fight for the belt as well. And then, of course, after all that, you've got Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian nightmare. So there is no shortage of opponents. Oh, you've also got Joaquin Buckley.
The core of the debate hinges on the weight class, 55 or 170 pounds. Many experts argue a fight at 170 would be inherently unfair to Ilia. Despite his incredible power, his natural featherweight frame isn't built for welterweight. He might lack the height, reach, or natural bulk to compete against a true welterweight, putting him at a significant physical disadvantage against an opponent like Islam, raising serious questions about competitive fairness.
Like, I don't understand this guy. He's just, my opinion, just be yourself. You have to be yourself. And I think, I met this guy before. He's like a decent guy, honestly. He's like nice, but in a way, we get this thing from him. You went there, you haven't even defended your title once. You understand? Islam defended 4 times. Have a couple fights. Islam will fight him. It's no problem. But in a way, why Islam? What Islam have benefit of beating Ilia Topuria, right? Is like almost not beating Dylan Dennis. It's like, because Ilia Topuria is one of the greatest fighters right now, honestly. He's so good, honestly. But in a way, you're going to be in the cage 20 pounds less than Islam. You understand? Yeah. And create your own legacy. Build your own self. You're young. You're hungry. You're good. Make your money. Run your contract out and get a new contract. You understand? And fight Islam for big prize money. Let Islam do his thing, you do your thing, and after that you guys fight. But in a way, I feel he's taking a page out of Connor's book. When big fights on, you get on Twitter and write, and you get attention. Earn your own attention. Live your own legacy. Don't live legacy for other people.
This physical disparity becomes even more pronounced considering Islam's build. As one analyst pointed out, it's not just height or limb length, it's the sheer density of Makhachev's frame, particularly his back and torso. When he's on top, that formidable grappling pressure, that unique, suffocating control is something Ilia would have to contend with. The natural welterweight frame provides strength and leverage a featherweight moving up simply cannot match.
The dialogue around the White House card is annoying. It's annoying to try to book a card that is not yet built at a venue that does not yet exist, to place an octagon who has not yet been constructed for the space. I do think it's annoying. But I do think that Ilia and his match with Islam is the match they're building towards main eventing on that card. So how are you going to get him there? Ilia went and did his part. Ilia showed I can beat the big guys. I can control the big guys. You want to do another big guy? I mean, the ultimate way for Ilia to really show us, and I'm saying Ilia, I mean Islam, for Islam to really show us, the ultimate way for him to show us I can do this work would be against Kamaru Usman. That's the one where we all stand back and go, okay, there's a changing of the guard. This doesn't feel like a changing of the guard because we didn't have an old guard.
Despite these warnings, a powerful undercurrent of belief persists. Never doubt Ilia Topuria. Doubting Ilia has become like a loser's profession, one analyst emphatically declared. He possesses an uncanny ability to not only perform in the cage, but also potentially get inside Makhachev's head with his fiery rhetoric. Ilia has shown he can poke the bear and rattle opponents, a psychological warfare tactic that could prove crucial in the build-up. Regardless of weight class, division, or current champions, one fact remains: Ilia Topuria will always fight Islam Makhachev. It doesn't matter what Islam does or who he fights. When the opportunity for that super fight arises, Ilia will pursue it relentlessly. This isn't just a challenge, it's a perceived destiny, an inevitable collision that Ilia views as the absolute biggest fight in the sport, a personal quest he will never shy away from at any cost. The potential for this clash ignited the moment Dana White subtly cracked the door open, dropping a hint that sent the entire MMA world into a frenzy. That brief mention sparked analysts, split fans into passionate sides, and had every expert weighing in on the dream matchup. White's carefully chosen words were like a spark in a tinderbox, confirming that what was once fan fantasy had suddenly become a very real, very tantalizing possibility, shifting the landscape. However, not everyone is convinced this mega showdown is on the immediate horizon. Michael Bisping remains skeptical, doubting Ilia versus Islam will hit the cage anytime soon. His reasoning is practical. Ilia is likely focused on defending his featherweight belt a few more times first. With a host of hungry challengers waiting in the wings, Bisping sees no rush for Ilia to jump weight classes, suggesting a more patient, strategically sound path to greatness. Adding to Bisping's point, the welterweight division itself is an absolute minefield, currently ridiculous with talent. Unbeaten phenoms like Michael Morales, dangerous finishers like Carlos Prates, top contenders such as Shavkat Rakhmonov, the rising star Ian Gary, and established legends like Kamaru Usman are all vying for a shot. Islam already faces a deep pool of challengers at his natural weight, complicating any immediate move up for a Topuria super fight, making timing critical. Ali Abdelaziz underscored his earlier criticism, highlighting Islam's proven championship pedigree. Islam has defended his title multiple times. Ilia, despite his recent crowning, hasn't defended his one. Abdelaziz advised Ilia to build his own legacy first, rack up wins, secure new contracts, and then pursue big fights for maximum financial reward. He stressed that Islam gains little by fighting a lighter, less established champion now, making the timing strategically questionable. Chael Sonnen, ever the provocateur, called out the hype around the White House card as somewhat overblown, finding it frustrating to promote fights for a card not fully built at a venue that doesn't even exist. Yet even Sonnen concedes that Ilia versus Islam is the main event they are slowly but surely building toward. He acknowledges Ilia's prowess in dominating bigger opponents, setting the stage for this inevitable, albeit vaguely scheduled, clash of champions. For Islam Makhachev, however, Sonnen suggested the ultimate true test would be against someone like Kamaru Usman, a fight that could truly signal a changing of the guard at the top. Sonnen believes a clash with Ilia, while massive, doesn't yet carry the same historic weight because there isn't an old guard to dethrone in that specific context. For Islam to cement his legacy, a decisive win over a proven welterweight legend would speak volumes. Sonnen further highlighted Ilia's extraordinary fearlessness, pointing out that his callouts aren't vague boasts. Ilia lays out exactly how he plans to dominate, whether through grappling, wrestling, or sheer control, even daringly offering opponents a chance to train with his own team to prepare. It's a bold, no-nonsense strategy, proving that Ilia's confidence isn't just talk, it's a foundational aspect of his fighting persona, making him a truly unique force in the sport. Kamaru Usman, himself a former welterweight king, poured cold water on the idea of Islam versus Ilia, warning that Islam stands to gain almost nothing while risking everything. He plainly stated Ilia moving up wouldn't suddenly dominate welterweight or defend a new belt. For Islam, a misstep, losing to a featherweight, could be catastrophically costly, with brutal fallout to his legacy. In Usman's eyes, the risk far outweighs any potential reward, making it a dangerous gamble. Building on Usman's warning, rising welterweight contender Ian Gary added another critical layer. This fight might be too big for its own good. While an Islam versus Ilia showdown would undeniably shake the sport to its core, Gary argues it could stall two divisions. He recognizes it as the UFC's biggest potential fight, eclipsing even Jones or Aspinall matchups, but emphasizes the timing simply isn't ideal with so many top contenders waiting in line, complicating its execution. Despite the risks, Merab Dvalishvili offered a nuanced perspective. He acknowledged facing Islam would be an unbelievably punishing test for Ilia, but also saw a genuine opening for Topuria to shine. Merab pointed out Ilia's style forces opponents into a dangerous trap, wrestle him and risk being stopped, or trade strikes and faces lethal knockout power. Dvalishvili believes Ilia possesses the unique tools and opportune style to potentially finish Islam against all odds. Sean O'Malley, never one to shy from bold predictions, chimed in with sky-high praise for the potential Islam versus Ilia showdown. He declared it a fight that would make even Islam versus Gaethje look easy, elevating it to one of the most skillful matchups ever witnessed. O'Malley sees both fighters operating at a perfect 10 out of 10 level in MMA, seamlessly combining striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, making this clash a true must-see dream fight for any fan of elite martial arts. The stage is set for an epic collision of styles and wills, a debate that has gripped the MMA world. Will Islam Makhachev's suffocating grappling dominance ultimately keep him atop the mountain, or can Ilia Topuria's fearless knockout power and unshakable confidence pull off the monumental upset? The question isn't if, but when and under what circumstances this generational clash finally happens. Drop your predictions below and don't miss updates on this potential blockbuster.